still don't know why I agreed to that picnic. Maybe because Emily insisted it would bring back the old times, or because Mark kept joking that I'd become boring after starting my new job. Either way, that Saturday afternoon, the three of us drove out of the city toward a quiet clearing deep in the countryside. The place was Emily's idea, a small meadow she remembered from childhood, somewhere past the abandoned quarry and a few miles from the forest line. We parked the car on an old dirt path and walked the rest of the way, carrying food, a blanket, and a cheap portable speaker. The sun was still high, and the clearing looked harmless, peaceful even. Perfect green grass, a few scattered boulders, a stream running nearby. It was the kind of place where families probably used to come on weekends. It felt normal, but the longer we stayed there, the less normal it felt. It started with the silence. Not just quiet, complete silence. No birds, no rustling, no insects buzzing in the grass. Emily noticed first. "Is it usually this quiet out here?" she asked. Mark shrugged. "Whatever, it's nature." But even he kept glancing toward the tree line every few minutes. I tried to ignore it. We laid out the blanket, unpacked the sandwiches, and joked around the way we used to. But something was off. The air felt heavier. Every time the wind passed over the grass, the sound didn't fade naturally. It stopped abruptly, like someone muted it. About an hour in, Emily asked the question that had been sitting on my tongue the whole time. "Do you feel like we're being watched?" Mark laughed, but his voice cracked a little. "By who? There's no one here." Except he didn't sound like he believed it. At some point, I looked over my shoulder and realized something. The shadows around the clearing didn't match the direction of the sun. They were angled slightly wrong, like objects were blocking the light. But there was nothing there. I didn't mention it. Not then. We decided to take some pictures. Mark held up his phone and took a few shots of us laughing, pretending everything was fine. When he checked the photos, he frowned. "What the hell?" In every picture, there was something in the background. Not a person, more like a shape. A darker patch among the trees, like a figure standing just behind the shade. No face, no details, just the outline of someone tall. Emily tried to tell us it was a shadow, but she wouldn't look at the photos a second time. That's when we heard it. A faint clicking sound, like pebbles tapping together. Slow, rhythmic, coming from the trees. Mark stood up. "Okay, who's there?" Silence. Then the clicking stopped. Then started again, closer. I grabbed my backpack and whispered, "Let's go." Emily didn't argue. Mark hesitated but followed when the clicking sharpened into something else. A soft rasping, like breath filtering through teeth. We packed in seconds, almost jogging back toward the car. The path we'd walked earlier suddenly felt unfamiliar. The grass taller, the trees closer, the light dimmer, even though the sun hadn't moved much. Emily said, "This isn't the same way." "It is," I insisted, even though I wasn't sure. "Just keep moving." That's when we heard footsteps behind us. Slow, deliberate, matching our pace. I turned. Nothing. But the grass behind us was pressed down, as if someone had stepped right where we had been standing seconds before. We kept moving faster. The forest seemed to stretch, each tree spaced too evenly, each shadow too still. The clicking returned, louder now, coming from both sides of the path. Emily grabbed my arm. "Ethan, look." Ahead of us, the grass shifted, like something invisible moved through it, leaving a trail that curved directly toward us. That was when we ran. Branches whipped at our faces, roots caught our shoes, but none of us stopped until we burst back onto the dirt road. The car was right where we left it. We piled in, and Mark turned the engine so fast, the tires spat dust as we sped away. Even as we drove, I saw the shape in the tree line, still, tall, watching. We didn't talk until we reached the city. Later that night, Mark sent the photos he took. In the last picture, the one he took right before we left, the shape was closer, almost at the edge of the clearing, and behind it were more shapes. 4, maybe 5, all the same height, all standing perfectly still. None of us returned to that place. I don't know how long we stood there, frozen between the trees, listening to that slow, deliberate rustling moving around our campsite. The fire had burned down to a few glowing coals, barely giving off enough light to make out each other's faces. Luke was gripping his flashlight like a knife. Emma kept glancing over her shoulder, waiting for someone to step into view. I whispered, "Don't run, not unless we have to." But my voice sounded hollow, like the woods swallowed it before it could reach them. The noise stopped, not faded, stopped, as if whoever was making it suddenly realized we were listening. I aimed my own light at the tree line. Nothing, just the trunks, tall and motionless, their shadows stretching unnaturally far across the ground. The night felt thicker there, like the darkness wasn't just absence of light, but something with weight. Then Emma tugged my sleeve. "Ethan, look." She pointed at the path we came from, the narrow dirt trail that should have led back to the main road. Except now there were footprints on it, bare footprints, clear, deep impressions in the soft soil, leading straight toward our campsite. But there were no footprints going back. Luke muttered, "I didn't hear anyone walk up." I didn't answer. I couldn't, because something else caught my eye. The prints weren't spaced normally. They were too far apart, as though the person had a long stride, almost a loping movement, and each print was angled slightly inward, like the feet pointed toward each other. Human, but wrong. "Pack up," I whispered. Quietly. We scrambled to grab our things, not even folding them, just stuffing everything into our bags. Every sound felt deafening, the zipper screeching, the clatter of metal cups, the crumple of the tent poles. And every few seconds, I checked the tree line, convinced something was watching from behind the branches. When we were ready, Emma hissed, "Where do we go?" "The road," I said. Fast. We moved down the trail single file. The forest canopy swallowed what little moonlight there was, leaving us with nothing but our flashlights. Mine flickered twice as the battery strained. Luke kept turning his light behind us, checking every few seconds. About a minute in, I heard it again. That slow, heavy step. Somewhere to our left. Emma's breath hitched. Luke stopped walking. The step came again. Closer. Too close. "Run," I said. And we did. Branches slapped at our arms. The ground beneath us was uneven, roots catching our shoes, but adrenaline pushed us forward. I didn't dare look back. I just focused on the rhythm of my breathing, on Emma's footsteps ahead of me, on Luke's frantic panting behind. Then Luke screamed. I whipped around, sliding on the dirt. His flashlight was on the ground, rolling, illuminating the trees in shaky circles. Luke was standing perfectly still, staring into the darkness between two trunks. "Luke, move!" I shouted. He didn't react. Emma grabbed my arm, whispering urgently, "Ethan, don't go, don't." But I couldn't leave him. I couldn't. I ran to him, grabbed his wrist and yanked. "Luke, we have to go." His eyes wouldn't leave the trees. "He's right there." My skin crawled. "Who?" Luke swallowed, voice thin. I didn't see his face, but he was crouching, like he was waiting. Every instinct in me screamed at once. I pulled him hard, forcing his legs to move, and we ran again, this time faster, more desperate. I didn't hear the footsteps behind us anymore, but that made it worse. When we finally burst through the tree line and saw the faint outline of the road, we didn't stop. Not until we reached Emma's car, breathless, shaking, drenched in sweat. She fumbled the keys but managed to unlock it. We piled inside and slammed the doors. As we pulled away, I looked out the back window. And I swear on everything, someone stepped onto the road behind us. A tall, thin silhouette, standing completely still, watching our car fade into the distance. I blinked, and it was gone. Maybe it stepped back into the woods, or maybe it never moved at all. But the footprints we found around our campsite, the ones with the long loping stride, angled inward, they were pressed into the soil long before we arrived, like someone had been circling that spot for hours.